So hello everybody, thank you so much for tuning back in. Today I want to discuss the Edixa Eximar 35mm f3.5 and how bad it really is. So if you're interested in this, stay tuned. So let's start this lens review with talking about buying vintage lenses. There are a lot of good reasons for doing so. A lot of them are really cheap. They offer good build quality and amazing results, different kind of bokeh. A lot of them are good for video work as well. So there are a lot of good reasons why you should buy vintage lenses to shoot in the digital age. The price factor may be also one to consider. If you buy a new good lens from any manufacturer, you will mostly spend more than $1,000 for a really good one, and you can get really nice vintage lenses for about $20 to $50. So yes, there are a lot of good reasons why you should buy vintage lenses, but there is also quite a huge exception, and this lens is one of those exceptions where I would rather advise you to never spend your money on. So let's have a look why that is. So this is the Edixa Eximar 35mm f3.5. It has not many aperture blades, just 6 of them, and it is entirely produced out of plastic. So if you're gonna have a look at the Edixa brand, it is not a bad brand. It is a really nice brand with a lot of heritage to it. In the 50s and 60s, the Edixa cameras were the cheaper counterpart to the Contaflex and stuff like that, to the big size cameras, and they were really rather well built and well priced. So a lot of people bought them because you could get a lot of features for not that much money, and the build quality was really great. Example for that is the Edixa Matte Reflex, which had interchangeable finders and stuff like that. So really good and great stuff for not that a lot of amount of money, and those cameras are still great till today. You can buy them for good money, you can use them really well, and they are awesome. But you have to remember one thing: Edixa was a camera manufacturer, not a lens manufacturer. So why do I have an Edixa lens? Let's have a look into another company for this. So you have to look into the Enna München manufacturer, which was a really great camera lenses manufacturer in the 1950s to the 1970s. And they produced lots and lots of lenses, really great stuff. They had a lot of really exciting products speaking for them. In the 1950s, they put out a 35mm f1.9 and stuff like that. They were one of the first lens manufacturers to reach the 28mm focal length. And really exciting stuff. So this was a great manufacturer. They had an 85mm f1.5 in the 1950s. So a great lens manufacturer. So why is my Edixa lens not a great one? So let's talk about another subject, which is rebranding. In the 1970s, there was an interesting thing, which was rebranding of already existing old designs of lenses for the cheap market under different brands. So you can buy Enna lenses with cheap plastic surroundings around them for not a lot of money, and they were licensed out to other brands like Post, Revunon, a lot of different ones, and Edixa as well. So now we have to think a bit from the historical part. So you would buy this lens in the 1970s. The design is out of the 1950s, so it's 20 years old by then. In those 20 years, a lot has happened. So you buy this lens, if you bought it in the 1950s, it was made straight out of metal and glass, great build quality, and a lot of aperture blades, well done coating for that age, because those were on the bleeding edge of technology back then. So now every dial is dialed back. Build quality was dialed back. They put it into a plastic housing made out of durolite. They reduced the aperture blades and they put away a lot of those coatings. And at that point, different names were put on those lenses, and this is what we end up with, the Edixa Eximar 35mm f3.5. So this lens originally would be the Enna München Litagon 35mm f3.5, and Enna was a lens producer which was mainly famous as an early third-party supplier for various camera manufacturers, and one of their main selling points was that some of their lenses had interchangeable lens mounts, so you could unscrew the lens barrel to change the mount in order to use it with a different camera. That was really pretty groundbreaking. So Enna was a really nice lens manufacturer, and the Litagon name was mainly given to the wide range of the wide-angle lenses at that point. So the 35mm f3.5 is a bit of an odd lens, not only due to its shape, but due to its performance or lack of performance as well. So let's talk about this specific lens. The haptical qualities are something that I really enjoy about vintage lenses, not on this one. It is completely made out of plastic. Even the threads on the back are made of plastic, and it is not a nice kind of plastic. It was really tacky when I got it, and even after cleaning it, it really does not feel nice. The focusing ring is really stiff. It feels precise at that, but the problem is it's so stiff that you unscrew it from the lens mount. So you would think maybe the aperture is better, but it's even worse. It's so stiff that you really can't twist it without twisting the lens off. Lens mount, really bad, so not happy about that. So the haptics are atrocious. 70s plastic and none of the great materials that we used to in the 50s and 60s. So now you may say, yeah, okay, haptics are one thing, but the really important bit is the performance of this lens. So let's have a look at picture quality on this lens. So let's talk about image quality. I will start off by saying I have not done anything to the files. They are right out of camera, nothing touched. So let's have a look. I've photographed a whiskey bottle right here to test center sharpness and then put it in the corners to see the corner sharpness. One thing I will start saying at the beginning is look right here and look right here. You can see a lot of vignetting at f3.5. So let's have a look at the center sharpness. Center sharpness is okay. I would say okay because what you can see is blooming right on the edge where there are contrasting colors, so white and black right here. What you can see as well is a bit of a green color cast here at this etchings. If you go down, you can see it went a lot darker, so you can see the vignette at this point. About the bokeh, I'm really happy about the bokeh in this image. It's really not bad. It's nice and soft all the way around, so close focusing distance in this picture, bokeh is okay. So let's have a look at the corners. So you can see the vignette right here and right here and right here. It's really obvious. We are still at f3.5, so let's have a look right here at the sharpness. And it's not there, yeah. And I've really tried my best. There is no sharpness. So not happy about that result. Let's confirm this with this picture. It's still at f3.5 and I've focused at this edge right here. One thing before we are looking at this is the blooming edge as well. Have a look at right here. And we have a color cast right here as well. So it's a little bit more on the bluish side. Not happy about that. You can zoom in right to have a look at that right here. There we go. So center sharpness right here, it's okay. Center part is okay. It's not great, it's okay. I have I've twisted my camera a bit, the same subject right here in the corners, and I've really tried to get it in focus. There is no focus available in the corners. It's one of the worst I've seen. You can see chromatic aberrations right here in the greenish color. Not happy. Another subject right here, flowers. I've focused right here in the corner. Let's have a look what the corner looks like. There we go. A lot of lack of color, and there is really no details in there. And what I've done next is I've done this shot with the different apertures. So this is at f3.5. At f4 it is a bit better, a bit more details right here, but still not great. Let's go forward. And now at f5.6. A bit better, but still not a great kind of detail right here, even at a 5.6. Let's go over to the next. We are at f8, and now it's okay. It is okay here in the corners. Not great, but okay from details. If we go here right in the center, this flower is now in perfect harmony, so those kind of details would be nice in the corner as well, but you won't get them. Let's have a look at another scenario. This one right here. So I've shot this backlit, and this is it's a harsh lighting situation. By the way, it was overcast that day, so not really that bad. So now let's have a look at the details. So what we can see right here is we have contrast in this lighting situation, but color rendition is not great. This is because of the lack of good coatings. So right here you can see there's literally no detail right here, even in the center. It's not great. If you go a little bit down here at the leaf, we can see a bit of detail, but this is not the kind of problematic situation. So this is normal, yeah. So it's okay from there. In the harsh lighting condition, it's really not. And if we now go down to f8, you can see there's literally no difference. Right here, a bit of more detail, but you really can see it's not great. Now let's have a look at details a bit more. This picture is at f3.5. By the way, I'm really not that unimpressed about the background. It's okay. The rendition of the background is not that bad, even at f3.5 if your subject is really close to you. So this kind of rendition is okay. Let's have a look at sharpness. And we can see it at f3.5 in the center. It's good, so you can work with that. But this is the center. This is not the important stuff. Let's talk about the corners. Corners, really bad, really bad, really bad. Let's have a look about sharpness in the corner. And there you can see there's literally no detail at f3.5. And if I go over to at f8, which should be the best with those lenses, there is still a lack of detail right here. So I'm really not that impressed. Let's have a look at one last thing, which is the rendition with harsh lighting in the picture. So what I'm impressed with is that the rendition of the background is still there. Many lenses fall apart in this kind of situation with lack of contrast and stuff like that. It's okay from that point. So there used to be a bit of coating, but it's not nice. Contrast is good right here. In this picture, I'm really not that keen about the bokeh. It is a bit of a swirly bokeh. This, by the way, is the lens flare it produces right here. Not that keen about the bokeh in this picture. It's a bit fuzzy, so I've tried this situation a bit around, so let's have a look. You can see a lighting streak like right there, but the contrast still is okay. So this is one of the stronger points for this lens, but in my opinion it's the only strong point for this lens. So let's sum this lens up. We have a lot of cons with this lens. The ergonomics are really bad. Sharpness is not its is another weak point. Vignetting and sometimes a bit of a lack of contrast, and it's really slow. And that presents you with a big problem. There are lots of 35mm lenses to choose from. Every manufacturer made several different 35mm prime lenses, and it is not easy to find the right one for you. And this really is not worth considering, especially since they are not so widely available as they were produced in rather small numbers. So image quality really is the weak point for this lens. The lens is soft even if you stop it down, and the softness is really bad in the corners, and it's not great in the center as well. Their images turn out to lack contrast sometimes, and the bokeh is alright but not really spectacular. And there's a big vignette as well. So haptics back, optics, nothing to brag about. So please stay away from this lens. Thank you so much for tuning back in, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.